the other day, man, it was just on Sunday. On Sunday, it was a very like I don't like to use the word weird, but that's the word that comes to my mind. A very weird day. We went out to eat and something tragic almost happened with Maya. She started choking, and I didn't like. For some reason, I didn't want to go to that restaurant. Like I was telling her, I was like, I don't want to go. She's like, let's go here. So we get there. Maya starts choking on a piece of candy because I didn't even know she had it. And Father of the Year award for me. But she starts choking and if you ever had something happen to your kid, especially like when your kids are your world, it's like everything stops. But I feel like we had an angel as a waitress because she just took over. I was gonna take over, but she just took over. Maya's obviously okay, and it was just a scare, man. And it just made me think again about what truly matters. And I want to just share that with you guys. Like in this world, we can get so caught up on the things that we think matter. We can get so caught up in the things that we don't have. We can get so caught up in just our everyday life that we become blind to what truly matters in our life. And I mean, of course, that's a definition that you only can define. But it just made me realize, like, I was, dealing with a little bit of stress. Like, a lot of things were going on, business-wise in my life. And that moment made me just reset. And I don't want that moment ever to happen again. But that moment made me reset and made me realize, like, what truly matters. And sometimes we have to refocus ourselves and focus on that. I say that because as we were sitting there, there was a gentleman that was in there. And I guess the gentleman had made eye contact with Maria. And Maria was like, that guy keeps looking over here. And so I looked back and he looked at me and said, man, I appreciate you. You helped change my life. And, I get that. I want to say often, but, I get that when I go out pretty much every day. At least somebody comes up to me and I say, I appreciate it, man, because those moments remind me like of why I do what I do. I know sometimes you think, well, Trent, you should know and I know, but when you guys, even on here, your comments and your messages, and that's why I always try to stay connected as much as I can. You guys like energize me like to keep going because this journey gets hard at times. When you're having to pour so much out, it gets tough. And so as we finish eating, I got a family of 5 now, so those bills ain't cheap at restaurants. So as we finish eating, the lady, the waitress comes up and says, hey, your meal has been paid for. And I'm like, okay. I was like, does the owner know who I am or something like that? And she said, no, a gentleman paid for it. So I looked over and it was the gentleman that said that, hold on, Titan, chill out. It's my dog. It was a gentleman that, said I, helped him with RehabTime and he paid for our meal. So I went over there and I talked to him and he just shared some things with me, man. It was just truly beautiful. So it was just like, the thing I'm trying to say is even in those moments of like, those turbulent moments, there's always just peaceful things to remind you of what really matters, to remind you of what you do. And Sunday was that day for me to focus on, the things that are beautiful in my life. So just to focus on like why I do what I do at RehabTime. So I wanted to share that, by the way, but let me stop boring y'all. I want you to understand something. When I say nobody can break your heart, I mean that nobody can break your heart more than once, right? You're always in control of what you accept. Nobody can give you anything. And this is something that I realized in my life. Nobody can give you anything like without your permission. And think about this. And I know sometimes our voids, our insecurities, like it makes us more vulnerable to accept certain things in our life, right? If you're going through pain or you're going through hurt, you become vulnerable. But I want you just to think about this. Nobody can give you less. Nobody can give you something that is making you lower your standards. Like nobody can give you anything without your permission. You always are in control of what you accept. So I always love to say protect what you accept, because the thing that you can accept, the thing that you might accept might be the thing that lowers your self-esteem. It might be the person that ruins your life. And so if you're getting things in your life that you know for a fact are like not what you deserve, stop accepting it. Like, please, like stop accepting less when you know you deserve more. Please, stop seeing, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on this, but understand the context of this. I see good in everybody. Like, that's just me. But sometimes that could be a fault, because I believe everybody has good in them. I really do. But just because somebody has a little bit of good in them doesn't mean that they're good for you. I want you to understand that. And so many times we try to see, we're only seeing the good in the person, but we're not seeing the reality of that person. We're seeing what we want to see. We're seeing what we hope to see. We're seeing what we hope them to be, but we're ignoring the reality of the situation. And this is in relationships, this is in friendships, this is in business ships, any ship that's sinking. I mean, that's selling or sinking. I should even keep it there. But you can't sit here and ignore what your eyes have been opened up to. Because the more you ignore it, the more you ignore the signs, right? It's like driving down the road. If a road said, hey, dead end in 50 feet, and you ignored it. It said dead end in 30 feet, you ignored it. If it said dead end in 10 feet, stop, and you ignored it. What's going to keep happening if you ignore it? Right? You're going to crash. You're going to go off the side of the cliff. And we live in a lot of times, and I get it because I've been here in my life, we will keep searching for signs when we already got reasons. When someone has showed us that they ain't loyal, why are you still searching for signs? Like, you know what real is? You know what loyalty is? You know what respect is? You know what these things are. So stop second guessing your common sense. Stop asking questions when you already got the answer. Stop lowering your standard to meet someone at their level when people who deserve to be in your life and want to be in your life, they will raise their standards to meet you at yours. But the more you keep accepting less, the more you're going to feel like it. The more you keep accepting less, the lower your self-esteem will become. You have to remove the toxic things in your life. It's like you wouldn't keep trash in your house. I hope not. Because the longer you keep that trash in your house is going to stink. It's time for some of us watching this to take out the trash in our life, whether that's other people bringing trash in or whether that's our own habits that's keeping trash in our life or creating trash. There's a reason why certain things come with an expiration date. There's a reason why a carton of milk has an expiration date on it. And you drink it after the expiration date, you playing with fire. Your stomach might be hurting the next few days if you do that. And there's a lot of things in our life that have passed its expiration date. And we have kept it in our life and we wonder why our life is turning sour. We wonder why that friendship is turning sour. But Trent, shouldn't we fight for these things? Absolutely. But you shouldn't fight for it alone. Trent, we shouldn't quit on things that we love. We shouldn't quit on things that we love. But if it's not progressing and moving forward, then nothing is going to change. You got to make a choice. If you don't make a choice, change is impossible. If you don't decide, life will decide for you. Some of us are in the same positions because we haven't made a choice. Nothing is going to change. Nothing will change without making changes. Like, my life really, really changed. Like, you see it right here. I live by this, right? You're in control of what you accept. Like, those are powerful words. Once I realized, like, oh, snaps. And I know it's common sense is a dumb moment, but I'm like, oh, snaps. I don't have to accept this. You can try as hard as you want. I don't have to accept this. You can try to make me feel guilty for cutting you off when you handed me the scissors, but I don't have to accept your guilt. Or you can try to shame me. I don't have to accept your shame. Or you can try to disrespect me. I don't have to accept your disrespect. I don't have to accept it. And the more you accept it, the more you put yourself in position to break your own heart. The more you settle, the more you break your own heart. So that's why I say, like, nobody can break your own heart at the end of the day more than once, because it moves from them breaking your heart to you breaking your own heart. And whatever that is, once you know what it is, once you know the truth and you choose to decide to see something else, you choose to ignore the truth. You choose to stay blind to what you are seeing. You choose to create potential in a situation that is showing you reality. When you choose these things, then it's on you. When somebody has showed you who they are, then it's on you. I firmly believe in seeing the best in people. Like I said, that's probably one of my biggest faults of anything. But when someone doesn't want to become the best them and doesn't want to see the best in themselves, I know I'm not powerful enough to make a person become who I want them to become. I don't own that type of power. I know that a person is not going to become a person that they don't want to become, no matter how much perfection I provide. No matter how much I allow myself to be used, they're never going to become the person that I want them to become. And honestly, that's an unfair expectation to put upon somebody. Because some of us, we're giving people positions in our lives that they don't deserve. They've proven it to you. We're giving people positions in our lives that they're not capable, or titles in our lives that they're not capable to live up to. And we sit there and we expect it. It's unfair to them. So I don't put unfair expectations. What I do is I see a person for who they are. I pray that they could be the best version of themselves, but I know that they cannot be that unless they want to be it. And at the end of the day, to wrap this back around and wrap this up, I protect what I accept. So you can throw me hate. I don't have to accept it. You can throw your judgments. I don't have to accept it. I don't have to tolerate anything I don't want to tolerate. And some of us, we don't think that because our self-esteem is so low and we're so afraid to be alone, we'd rather stay in a situation where we are alone. Some of us, we're so afraid to let go, not knowing that letting go could probably be the best thing in your life. And I'm not telling you, oh, my relationship isn't perfect. We argue, so it's time to throw it away. That's dumb. No relationship is perfect. But when you got two people fighting for a relationship, you got two unselfish people in a relationship, that's a powerful relationship. And I'm all about relationships, obviously. But to the people that are accepting things that goes against where they want to go with their life, that's on you. And I just pray and hope that you stop accepting things that you don't want to accept. Because you're never going to get to healing if you keep accepting pain. You'll never get to the greatest you if you keep accepting things that keep you at a lesser you. You'll never grow your life by accepting the same things that are tearing your life apart. A lot of life is just like, it's not about necessarily adding more or some secret thing. Like people say, Trent, you're so wise and all this. I'm like, it's just common sense, to be honest with you. And I don't second guess my common sense. I don't. People say, oh, you have it all figured out. I don't have it all figured out. I just know what I don't want in my life. And sometimes that's like the most powerful thing, like a superpower, is like understanding what you don't want and understanding what you're not going to accept and having boundaries that don't budge. Having non-negotiables. Like certain things ain't negotiable for me. Period. Disrespect, not being loyal, lie, all that type of stuff is like non-negotiable. And there's nobody in the world, anybody, I don't care if it's 1 million people, that can ever make me feel guilty for me knowing and respecting my worth. Nobody. There's nothing nobody can say in this world to be like, hey, you're a bad person because you choose not to see the good in everybody. I will never feel guilty for knowing my worth. I will never feel guilty for respecting myself. I will never feel guilty for not lowering my standards, ever. Ever. Because I know the people who are supposed to be in my life will respect me, will love me, and will add to my life, not take from it. Some of you are around people and things and environments that are doing nothing but draining your life. And you come on here and you hit me up in my inbox and you want help. And it's like, Trent, please, 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 please. And you want me to make you feel better without you removing yourself from the situation. That's impossible. There's nothing I can say. Actually, there's things I can say to make you feel better. But the reality is, nothing will ever change. And so I'm an advocate for protecting your heart, protecting your life, for protecting your worth, for protecting what you accept. You don't have to accept anything you don't want to accept. And nobody can force you. Unless somebody is threatening you with a gun to the head, whatever, and you need to call the police, nobody can make you do anything that you don't want to do. Unless they're a criminal. Nobody can give you anything. Right? These emotional poisons. It's like, you've heard me talk about this before. If I had just think about this. Like, if I had a cup of poison, or just say this ball, this is Maya's ball. If this ball was poison, and I said, here, eat this ball, right? Or drink, whatever, eat this ball, eat it. You would not do it. Like, unless I had a gun to your head or something like that, like, you would not do it. There's no way I can force you to take this because you're like, this is poison, this will kill me. Right? Physical, right? This will kill me. And what really opened my mind up is like, man, it's so easy for us to like know the physical things, to be like, okay, I don't need that in my life because that will kill me or ruin my life. But when it comes to these emotional poisons, like disrespect, like people not being loyal, like manipulation, a lot of us, we accept it. We accept these emotional poisons and we wonder why. We feel like our worth and we feel like just our soul is just like dying slowly. And it's because we're keeping these emotional poisons in our life. We are keeping these poisonous people in our life. I've been telling y'all this since 2009, man. My message is not going to change. Because I know a big part of you becoming the person that you deserve to become. Like, I want you to be fulfilled. I want you to experience happiness. Like, it breaks my heart when I see people. And I'm like, I don't have to know people. I can see when people struggle. I can look in their eyes and tell them that they're going through a lot. Tell that they're going through so much in their life. But those strongholds are keeping them there. Maybe they're staying there for financial reasons, emotional reasons, whatever. And this is not just for relationship, guys. Like, this is maybe things that you're inflicting on your own life. Could be friendships. There has to get to a point when you wake up and you say, or not, it's on you. But you say, you know what? I'm not going to die unhappy. I'm not going to die unhappy. I refuse to die unhappy. I refuse to spend my life in some mess. I refuse to just live life like that. Like, my peace is my priority. And I refuse to stay in anything that takes away from my peace. Like, life is too short. And life is beautiful, guys. It is. Of course, you have ups and downs and, your storms in life. But life is beautiful. But you will never realize how beautiful it is if you're staying in constant nightmares, constant storms, and constant pain. You can watch all the videos you want to watch. You can read all the books you want to read. But until you make a choice, nothing will change. Think about that. The most powerful thing that I ever did was I made a choice. And I can point to every change in my life. It started with a choice. It started with a decision. It started with me putting my foot in the sand and saying, you know what, I'm not going back to that. As hard as it was not to go back. That was certain habits, certain environments. So I can't go back. Because I know I will never get to a place where I believe I could get to by staying here. Life isn't always about what you're moving on to. A lot of times life is about knowing what you have to move on from. I'm praying for you, man. I'm praying for your mindset. I'm praying that you break those chains. I'm praying that even in the midst of you not knowing your worth, that you still see your worth. You are incredible. You're beautiful. And I don't say these things because they sound good. It's facts. But I know that's hard to believe when you've been convinced otherwise. I know that's hard to believe when someone has treated you different than those things. But you can't base your worth off of someone's inability to see it. The most dangerous thing that you can do is start seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else. Right? That can be beautiful too at the same time. Because there could be people in your life that love the heck out of you. They make you, I'm one of those people. I'm going to make you feel better about yourself than is probably true. I'm always going to see the greatness in people, right? I'm going to see it in you. But I also know I have to see the reality too, because I can't ignore the reality. I can't get you to a place if I'm not honest about where you're at. First step of rehab is reality. My hope is that you start being an inspiration to yourself. My hope is that, I'm not your hero. I want you to be your own hero. I want you to look in the mirror and you see, when you turn on this screen and you see me, you're like, oh, whatever you come to me for, however I make you feel. I want you to be able to look in the mirror and have like times 20 of how you feel like when you come on here. I want you to start seeing that greatness in yourself. I want you to be that inspiration for yourself. And I just hope, and I know I talk a lot about the same stuff over the years, but it's just, I don't want to make up things to talk about. Like literally, if you can grasp this concept of like, man, I'm in control of what I accept. I am. And yeah, there are a lot of variables that make it hard to not accept certain things. I get it, right? Just depending on where you're at in life, you're vulnerable, etc. But when you realize like, I ain't got to accept this. Like, I don't have to accept fake when I know it's real. So, and this isn't a plea to like just start cutting people out your life neither. I don't want you to be like, okay, well, this person needs to go, blah, blah. And I'm always like, have conversations with people, but when you know, like some of y'all, it shouldn't even be a conversation no more. Like, like it's been years of the same stuff. Like those people aren't going to change. But I'm not telling you like, just because you're going through like a hard moment in a situation that you're like, okay, cool, I need to cut them off. No, that's being a quitter. And if you know me, I'm not about, I don't have a quitter's mindset. I don't like quitting on things. But I understand the reality of situations when it's necessary to let go of things, right? You have to understand that. Because the people that are going to support you are going to support you. That's it. The people who are going to love you are going to love you. And that's who I focus on. Like I focus on the rehabbers across the world. I know there's people who slip through the cracks and come on my videos or come in here and say whatever they want to say. People who have never met me before. And that's the thing too. Like these people that are trying to tear you down, they have no context on your life at all. Like they don't know anything about you. And the thing that I tell people all the time is check my fruit. I think the fruit doesn't lie. And what do I mean by that? Anybody can talk it. Anybody can even like me, I could come on here and share things and, you guys will probably believe it. But I always say, judge me by my fruit. Look at my kids, look at my family. That's my fruit. I could say, hey, work hard and do all these things, but look at my fruit. Look at RehabTime. Look how much it's grew over 10 years. Because there's a lot of people who talk it, but their fruit doesn't reflect it. Have conversations with people that have met me. Of course, there might be some people who don't like me for whatever reason, but I guarantee the majority of my fruit and how I treat people is going to be 100. It's going to be real. Like I always say, check the fruit with people. Like I'm always checking the fruit because the fruit doesn't lie. It doesn't.